Welcome back. We turn our attention to security now. With the insurgency in the northeast of the country showing no signs of abating, the federal government has unveiled a new approach to tackling the challenge. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, explained that the new approach is aimed at de-radicalizing convicted terrorists as well as suspects awaiting trial for terrorism. Colonel Dasuki explained that the approach will span over a period of 2 years and will address the economic development of the northeastern part of the country. And this is coming as Nigeria enters into an agreement with France, the republics of Benin, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger to step up coordination and exchange of intelligence in the fight against terrorism. The 5 West African countries are to collaborate more in the areas of effective policing of their borders. This agreement was the outcome of a meeting of the Directors General of External Intelligence Services of the 6 countries in Abuja on March the 5th. Meanwhile, Nigeria is asking neighboring African countries to collaborate to fight insurgents ravaging some parts of the nation. Senate President David Mark and the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Emeka Ihedioha, are canvassing this position at the ongoing 130th Inter-Parliamentary Union Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. IPU member countries are also concerned about the growing cases of terrorism across the globe and warn that terror, if not addressed, poses serious threat to global peace and development. Our correspondent, Linda Kigbe, reports.
Renewing commitments to peace and democracy and ensuring a nuclear-free world topped the agenda as the 130th Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly begins in Geneva. The assembly is coming at a time of continued conflict and war in different parts of the world and increasing terrorist activities in Nigeria. So what role should parliamentarians play in promoting peace and stability across the world, and how can they protect the rights of children in war and conflict? These are some of the questions this assembly meeting hopefully will find answers to. The outgoing Secretary General of the IPU, lasting peace and security across the world can only be achieved through inclusive and participatory processes.
The IPU sent trial observers. It went on missions to talk to leaders in countries about how best to resolve situations involving different forms of violations of the rights of MPs and their human rights.
The outgoing IPU president condemned terrorism in all its ramifications and asked parliamentarians to take a stand in addressing issues that promote conflict. The Director General of the United Nations office in Geneva, on his part, wants parliamentarians to make a firm commitment to disarmament.
I take this opportunity to ask you to facilitate an early entry into force of those disarmament agreements that are still pending. These include the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, the CTBT, and the Arms Trade Treaty, the landmark treaty which was adopted last year to help regulate the trade in small arms and light weapons that are the weapons of choice in the armed conflicts raging across the world today.
The agenda for this assembly is timely. It is at a time when Nigeria is battling terrorism.
Peace really is the core issue here. And the focus, as you've heard speakers, speaker after speaker, is on democracy and peace. We believe that democracy will necessarily ensure that there is peace because everybody's views will be taken into consideration. That's why I've consistently insisted that those who have grievances must come out and let us know what the grievances are, because it could help us in the legislation that we'll do in the National Assembly.
The Senate President, Senator David Mark, will be addressing the Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly on Wednesday, and he will most likely be speaking on efforts Nigeria has been making so far to tackle insurgency. From Geneva, Switzerland, Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
We'll take more reactions to Saturday's incidents with the Nigerian Immigration Service recruitment exercise. Federal lawmakers have declared as unacceptable the death of some applicants during the job recruitment by the Nigeria Immigration Service, while the House of Representatives summoned the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service and the Minister of Interior to appear before its Committee on Interior to explain why the exercise was not well coordinated. the Senate ordered its Committee on Interior to investigate the exercise and report back within 2 weeks. Both chambers of the National Assembly also called on the federal government to come up with practical solutions on how to tackle the monster of unemployment in the country. The Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, Mr. Victor Oche, has resigned. The Deputy Majority Whip, Peter Onwusanwa, has now emerged as the new Speaker of the House, and some have linked Mr. Oche's resignation to possible ambition of running for the governorship seat of the state in 2015. Back to Lagos now. Residents of Diamond Estate areas are living in fear following leakages from ruptured pipes belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC. Pipelines are set to run from Apapa through Ejigbo and Mosemi, both in Lagos and Ogun State. It's unclear at this point whether the spillage, the second in 4 months, is as a result of vandalism, although reports say individuals scoop petrol freely from the site. Our correspondent, Oreoluwa Shonibare, was at the scene earlier today and reports.
Motorists on long stretches queuing for petrol. Everyone in search of gas to move around for their various businesses. But here in Lagos is an area not bothered about searching for the product, as there is enough to scoop from the backyard. And now a thriving business for some. Diamond Estate, situated along the Isheri-Ngodo Expressway of the metropolis, is living on dangerous ground. The estate sits atop NNPC pipelines where petrol passes through. But the scary issue is that the pipeline, due to either age or vandalism, has the product seeping from the ground.
This is a finished product. It's not a crude oil. It's a finished product. That is petrol.
Following a distress call from residents, Channels Television paid a visit to the estate. And the crew is welcomed with placards of help. This woman and these two men are crying out for action from the authorities.
Just about some meter away from our apartment, we found out that fuel is gushing out from the floor, gushing out for all over the whole place. And even the fuel has contaminated our borehole, the water that we are drinking. And we make a concerted effort to talk to the people in the estate. It yield no fruit.
Please, they should hasten up because this is really a risk. There's a risk because we're living in perpetual fear. Anything can happen. So we advise them to come and rectify the same way they did it earlier. They should come and do it, but this one permanently.
Ponds of petrol litter the area, and its fumes are stinging to newcomers. Petrol. Our visit, however, did not go down well with other members of the estate, as the crew was twice interrupted from discharging its duties.
Baba, you live here, I live in this estate. I am in charge of the estate. And that's the president of the estate. If anything should happen, it should happen between me and him.
After calm resumes, the president of the Residents Association is now able to articulate their plight.
We have been on it for like 5 years, and to a very large extent, I would say we have involved NNPC, and at some point in time, they've been very responsive. They did put some measures in place that ameliorated the situation a little bit. And it is still recurring.
There's clearly an urgent need for the NNPC to wade into this matter, because the longer they hold on, the higher the risk for the residents of Diamond Estate and its environs. Oreoluwa Shonibare, reporting for Channels Television News.
First Bank, truly the first.
Here's Adeshawa Josh.
Well, thank you, Amarachi. Let's take you through our business stories this hour. The Delta State Governor, Dr. Emmanuel Dwaha, has signed a 451 billion naira 2014 appropriation bill into law, with an assurance that more money will be spent on capital projects this year. As explained by the governor, 36% of the total budget will be for recurrent expenditure, leaving 64% for capital expenditure. The governor also signed other bills into law, including the Delta State Local Government Bill, Delta State Security Fund Bill, among others. The federal government plans to raise 972.51 billion naira through treasury bills ranging between 3-month and 1-year maturities in the second quarter of the year in March. The central bank also plans to raise 221.91 billion naira in 91-day and 182-day and also 1-year treasury bills, while in April, the regulator will auction 334.25 billion naira worth of treasury bills of the same maturities. Also, the CBN plans to issue 278.38 billion naira worth of debt note in May and also 137.97 billion naira worth of the 3-month, 9-month and 1-year worth of the bills in the first week of June. The CBN holds treasury bills auctions twice a month on behalf of the Debt Management Office to raise funds via short tenor paper to finance the government's budget deficit. Now, the Society for Corporate Governance is supporting the Nigerian Stock Exchange to realize a successful corporate governance index. Chairman of the group, Chief Olusegun Osunkeye, made the statement at the forum organized to enlighten listed companies on the benefits of the Corporate Governance Index. He also advised that while more awareness is needed on the initiative, the regulators should encourage companies rather than penalize them at this stage.
People know about corporate governance practices, the more inclined they will be to imbibe those practices. So education, awareness, and sensitizing will be part of the actions and activities going forward. Of course, there will be yardsticks, there will be benchmarking for many companies, all geared towards improving the practice of corporate governance. It is not to penalize as such, but there will be sanctions if some companies or organizations are not pulling their weight to meet best corporate governance practices. But the idea is to be proactive, to get them to improve, not just to penalize.
Let's take you to the stock market right now, where investors continue to take profit of stocks as heavyweight stocks led by Nestle and Dangote Cement and also Forte Oil lead the top laggards of the day, also leaving the market indicators lying in the negative territory. For more details on this, we join BC Koka right now.
Hello and welcome. This is Stock Market Report. Profit-taking and a drop in the share prices of some of the highly capitalized stocks on the local bourse drags down the benchmark index further as sell pressure continues to bite hard. The key broad index dipped by 1.62% to close at 37,274.04 points. In the same vein, the market's capitalization also depreciated, settling lower at 11.97 trillion naira. Now, heavyweight stocks led by Nestle, Dangote Cement and Forte Oil topped the decliners table. On the other hand, 7-Up, Guaranty Trust Bank and Guinness recorded the topmost gains. Investors actively traded the stocks of UBA, Guaranty Trust Bank and Transcorp. Now, at the close of the day's trade, volume stood at 286.79 million units for a 4.54 billion naira value. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I'm Loretta Chiogo.
Thank you, Loretta Chiogo, for giving us the details on trading from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We'll leave you with closing figures from around the world, and the news at 10 continues in just a moment.
First Bank, truly the first.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Russia side of Zenit St. Petersburg appoints Portuguese tactician André Villas-Boas as a manager after the exit of former coach Luciano Spalletti. That's in sports news. Just with us.